Yo, what it do, YouTube? It is your boy Culture Shock. We are back with another video today. I got my guy Lucas with me. How are you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. It's great to be on the winning side of the season. At least get a big win against the Jets. So I'm really happy to be back here at the Culture Shock.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Today I got an interesting topic for you. I have seen this circling around for a bit. Mid-season MVP for the Indianapolis Colts is a big question circling right now. I definitely want to get a good point of this. Shout out to everybody that brought up the question on social media. It's too many names. I don't want to just give credit to anybody too. So let's go ahead and hop into the topic of discussion. Lucas, who is the mid-season MVP for the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, I'd say there's a few different schools of thought when going into the MVP discussion for really any team or really the league in general. You either go with the best player or the player who's just literally the most valuable on the team. And if we're going most valuable, then there's two guys that I feel have definitely hit that mark. And that's been first one is Darius Leonard. He has been absolutely irreplaceable on this defense. He has generated more turnovers than any other defender in the NFL. He has been a phenomenal playmaker in all this despite having having an ankle surgery over the offseason, which is insane. You haven't quite seen him be as fast and rangy this season, but despite that, he is impeccable at just punching out the football and making these game-changing plays that have really impacted the Colts' win-loss record this season. He's a big reason why the Colts lead the league in turnovers. He's absolutely irreplaceable for this defense. So I could see us giving the midseason MVP to Darius Leonard. He is certainly deserving in that regard. But another most valuable, I'd say, is Carson Wentz. Now, of course, a lot of the MVP discussion in the league is always going to be who is the best quarterback. And of course, there's only one option for the Colts, and that would be Carson Wentz. And he has been very, very impressive considering where he was at in 2020. 2020, he was arguably one of, if not the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And now he's with the Colts. Frank Reich's got him kind of feeling himself a little bit more, got him back into the groove, and he has returned to being a very, very good NFL quarterback. Maybe not the greatest, but he's at least above average to borderline top 10, depending on what metric you're using to judge your quarterback. So ultimately, that is a very big improvement for him. And since quarterback is the most important position on the team, if he were to go down, he would be absolutely irreplaceable for the Colts. No question about it. But what about the best player? And for this one, he might not be at the most valuable position, but there is no debate in terms of who the best player on this Colts team has been so far. And that's Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he is an absolute elite playmaker. He has more big plays than any other running back in the league. He has 370-yard plays. He is currently second in the league in rushing, first in the league in total yards from scrimmage at the running back position. And he's doing this he only has the 12th most carries in the NFL, but he has a ridiculous 5.84 yards per carry and over 12.6 yards per catch. He has been absolutely ridiculous, and he has been the true engine that drives this offense forward. So ultimately, if you want to say there's the best player out there for the Colts right now, Jonathan Taylor, no question about it. You can make the case he isn't just one of the top running backs, but you can make the case that he is the top running back right now. Some would say Derrick Henry on that. He was more volume based rather than efficiency based. Per carry, Jonathan Taylor all the way. And of course, you could possibly disqualify Derrick Henry from being the best running back this season because of the injury making him miss at least 6 to 8 weeks. maybe even 10. So Jonathan Taylor definitely has a very, very strong case to be made for the MVP. And ultimately, I'm going to give it to Jonathan Taylor. Of those three candidates, all of them are very deserving in their own right. But JT this season has just been absolutely phenomenal, and he will be phenomenal for the foreseeable future because he is still a very, very young running back. He's only 22, and he has plenty of tread on the tires. I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to develop into being one of the best running backs I've seen in my lifetime wearing the Colts jersey.
Hey man, you make a good argument, no lie. But hey, I definitely agree. I think definitely the midseason MVP has to be Jonathan Taylor. Now, of course, we can say Darius Leonard because he's putting on a Defensive Player of the Year type season. So he's have definitely been having a good year. But Jonathan Taylor has definitely been the motor for the offense for the Indianapolis Colts. If there's no Jonathan Taylor, there is no type of production coming out of the offense. Now, of course, Carson Wentz has been putting the football in the air and hitting targets. The play designs from Coach Frank Reich definitely benefits that. And there's a lot that we can talk about with Carson Wentz and Frank Reich into the future of another video. It can be a segment alone itself. But Jonathan Taylor has definitely been the guy that has moved the chains for the Colts, big play after big play. I feel, in my opinion, I feel like he's had those spurts like Derrick Henry last year. Now, of course, Derrick Henry put up MVP type numbers, but I think Jonathan Taylor has that same type of explosion that Henry had last year. And I feel like he still has some left in the tank. So I definitely would give the midseason MVP to Jonathan Taylor. And you did give up the two runner-ups, Carson Wentz and Darius Leonard. But who's a guy that's been an X factor that hasn't been mid-season MVP, I would say? Who is the X factor? It could be a guy like Al-Qadim Muhammad, in my opinion, who's exploded this offseason, off the radar, no one really expected. But who is that guy that's not a mid-season MVP but contributed a lot for the Colts?
Ooh, well, that can be a very tough question to answer because, of course, like the runner up to the runner up would probably be Michael Pittman Jr., who has been absolutely phenomenal. You could also make a case for uh, Quentin Nelson because his absence was definitely felt along the offensive line, and he is one of, if not the best guard in the NFL. And losing him was a big, big deal. Though, thankfully, we had Chris Reed step in, and he has been very, very phenomenal at both the left and now right guard spots. So, kind of minimized the loss of Quentin Nelson. But of course, there was still a loss. Um, but if we're talking about guys who did make a pretty darn good impact this season, but might not have shown up at that kind of MVP level, who I'd say there's also a good chance you could give it to Defoe, DeForest Buckner. He has been double teamed more than he has been in any single season so far in his career. So we haven't quite seen him have these crazy high sack totals. But he is definitely making a case to be one of the most impactful guys in terms of he frees up a lot of one-on-one for the outside pass rushers. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of them have been able to consistently beat their guys off the edge. The only exception to that was possibly Quiddy Pay last game, where he had 7 pressures versus the Jets. Now, we'll see how Quiddy Pay develops. He also could be a potential dark horse kind of candidate for that. But if Defoe and Quiddy Pay can really turn around this season, is with Daya Odoyingbo now healthy, or at least active, it could be very, very interesting to see how that pass rush turns around because at this point, the pass rush is our weakest aspect of our defense. We are dead last in pressures, dead last in pressure percentage, and dead last in quarterback hits. And we're not much better in sacks. So, despite all of the investments that we've made into the defensive line, the results have yet to be there this first half of the season. But if DeForest Buckner can really, really turn around and start freeing up these pass rushers to win on their one-on-ones, it could be a very, very interesting second half of the season. So Defoe is my pick.
Hey, man, not a bad pick. My pick, personally, is going to be Rocky Sin. Oh, gosh. When Rocky Sin wasn't there, you can literally see the impact that he's produced. I think he's been the best corner for the Colts this year, in my opinion. He's way more disciplined, and he made a lot of big plays that a lot of people don't talk about. But Rocky Sin is definitely my pick. But you guys let me know in the comment section. Let us know, me and Lucas, your thoughts about who is the MVP for the Colts and who is the dark horse, the runner-up, basically. He had Defoe and Jonathan Taylor. I had Jonathan Taylor and Rocky Sin. You let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Where can they find you before we get out of here?
Well, they can find me at Robbins Lucas on Twitter, and they can also find me at thebluestable.com.
All right, that's where you can find them. Please check out those links. Appreciate you for joining the show, Lucas. This is Marcus. And until next time, you've been Culture Shock.